Okay, so Stu Hampton got in touch with me and to tell me about his art project that he is doing with Jon Reading in the Velvet Chapel in Wales. So I had a quick look at it. It looked very interesting. So I thought, yes, let's have them on to have a chat about it. And they're also joined by Lucia. So hello, John. Hello, Stu, and hello, Lucia.
Hey,
Guys.
John.
So the life-saving distractions. That's the name of the project. Tell me, what is it all about?
Over to you, John.
Um, well, life-saving distractions started off as kind of a life-saving distraction. We were wondering what to do. So there's a certain philosophy behind it as to whether or not there's any point in anything, or are we just, trying to validate our existence between birth and death by, having opinions, ideas, or something. And really, is there any point in in pursuing anything? Or are we just simply distracting ourselves with, you know, with with different things to validate ourselves? So we believe everyone's got a life-saving distraction. Of course, it's a necessary part of life. Otherwise, we simply couldn't keep sustaining ourselves. So I guess there is something about our consciousness that has a will to live, if you like. Why we have that and what's the purpose, if there is a purpose, maybe that's something to discover. And perhaps are we just distracting ourselves from the real goal, if at all there is a goal? So hence life-saving distractions.
Right. Well, that all sounds brilliant. What kind of shape does that take then? How does that? What does that look like in
For
existence?
me
I suppose.
personally, well, everyone's got a different life-saving distraction. For us, perhaps it's the whole project.
Yeah, so I partly relate to the life-saving distractions thing as well as like in the life that we live in. If you think of like Hindu philosophy and the Maya and the illusion and all of this, some distractions for me I prefer over others. So what I think we're trying to present is distractions which make you feel good and not just that superficial, but they sort of help guide you towards a spiritual awakening of sorts. So, because for me growing up, a lot of the hippie peace and love movement and all of the culture that came out of that, like the Doors, Timothy Leary, Ram Dass, Joni Mitchell, all of the Seekers, Woodstock, all of this stuff for me proved to be like a guidepost for my spiritual journey. And so I feel that what we're doing is we're continuing that by like, if we've been passed the baton to continue that kind of nurturing this other aspect of our being sort of thing to provide guideposts for others, to pursue a way forward to exist, which involves peace, love, togetherness, color, creativity, harmony, music, fun, dancing, performance, and all of these nice things that we can pass our time with, which eventually lead to perhaps self-realization.
I think if you look at lots of mystery schools or people who are pursuing some type of higher states of consciousness, let's say, that their way into that is through stillness and quiet. So these are different forms of what we would call meditation. So if the way into yourself is through stillness and quiet, then anything other than that is simply a distraction. It's a need or a want in order to occupy yourself for the sake of holding an opinion, a thought, a point of view, or perhaps just to validate your existence. In other words, you just distract yourself from the real reality. And if that real reality of freedom, we'll say, is in the realms of stillness and quiet, then perhaps we're all missing the point.
Right. And what about you, Lucia? What does it mean for you, or how do you relate to it?
Life-saving distractions for me is the same. So I think everyone has their own different way of distracting themselves. But for me, it's a way to connect to yourself. And they can be different flavors. So for me, this project is finding the diversity in those flavors in the different people and cultivating community to come together and just have one big soup of life-saving distraction of colors and music and culture and different people.
Right. Lovely. That all sounds beautiful. Is there a sort of an element to it where it's kind of highlighting how, particularly with mobile phones and apps and all that kind of thing, that everybody can be a bit distracted? I mean, it's easy to get distracted by anything. But are you kind of hoping to highlight, hey, everybody's distracted, and why not distract yourself in a way that is life-affirming or life-saving, as you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if this state of consciousness that we speak about transcends all other things, and it's, let's just say, a state of blissfulness, then the closest that I can think of blissfulness is through our own creativity and how we use our creativity and the joy of surrendering to something other than ourselves. In other words, trying to connect to a muse, to allow to see what can channel through you in forms of beauty and creativity. So in that sense, those distractions, at least for me, have an application. So I'm much better off, for instance, playing rock and roll than I am sitting down meditating. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but that distraction can be dovetailed into that. And I'm not making a value judgment on people using handphones or anything like that. I mean, the mere fact that we're using technology to discuss this is, we're utilizing that. So it's the, utility is the force. It's how you utilize things. But essentially, the undercurrent of all this is to just be blissful and to create. And that's why we're using the vehicle of art and satire to do that.
Right. So I know you're an artist, Jon, and so are you, Stuart, both very good artists as well. Are you an artist as well, Lucia?
You could say that. I feel like being alive is just being an artist. But I love to dance and travel and just create art in different ways. Yes.
Okay, but you're not a painter or
No.
You're referring to a visual artist or a painter, right? When you
say that again,
artist, you're referring to a visual artist or a painter.
I mean a painter, yeah. Or well, yes, because I think you do digital art. It's not just painting as well. I can't remember who. I think it's Stu does the digital side of things. Do you?
For many years, I did painting and album cover design. That was sort of an illustration. That was like something I did for a long time. But as time's gone on, and with technology and how it's evolved, I've got into. At the moment, I'm doing quite a lot of digital stuff, GIFs and animated things like that, video.
I think Lucia's point was that her life is like an art installation. From what I know,
Yeah,
every step is like a dance.
Exactly. Different types of art.
Yeah, and consciousness exploration. I think Lucia has been. Yeah, you recently studied how to use Cambo and things like that. You're really interested in expanded states of consciousness and spirituality through meditation and speaking for you now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely different ways to alter our states of consciousness or expand our consciousness and how that differs from different cultures and different ways of being around the world. That's my exploration.
Yeah, lovely. So how can people get involved? How can most of the people who listen to the podcast are all artists, and if what you're saying is kind of turning on some lights for them, how can they get involved? And maybe
Okay.
talk about the chapel a little bit as well.
Okay, well, we're situated just outside of Swansea, and we're in the hometown of John Cale. So John Cale, if you don't know, is part of the Velvet Underground. And the Velvet Underground was very instrumental. It was a band set up by Andy Warhol when Andy Warhol was busy getting into different varieties of businesses. He was advised to put a band together. And through John Cale and Lou Reed, they put together the Velvet Underground. So a lot of what we do is pop art, and a lot of the culture that we look back onto is the 60s and the peace and love and that type of era. So we've got a chapel in the hometown of John Cale, and that's why it's called the Velvet Chapel. So it's a creative project, and we're using this place as our headquarters. If people want to get involved, we have a project which is called Artivism, which is kind of a soft way for activists to use art to make statements. So if people want to get involved, we can post them on our virtual gallery online. If people want to come and visit, if they've got a contribution, or if they feel drawn to the place, they're quite welcome. I mean, right now is winter, so it's cold, so we're probably looking at doing something in the summer. But if anyone feels in tune with what we're doing, yeah, just get hold of us and we'll see how we can work together. So, and we're really trying to create the ethos of Andy Warhol's Silver Factory, which for people who know about that, you know, Andy Warhol had this incredible hub of activity, which all sorts of people from Bob Dylan, David Bowie, you know, on and on and on. They all seem to gravitate towards that place, and it was just a huge melting pot of creativity of all sorts of people, performance artists and visual artists, etc. So we're hoping to try and recreate that. And what better place to do it than, you know, in the hometown of John Cale? So Velvet Underground fans, etc., whatever. So whatever rings true with you.
Brilliant. What are your plans then for the coming year?
We've got a magical mystery tour planned because John's the proud owner of a psychedelic Rolls Royce, which is kind of, it's all multicolored and looks amazing. And we're going to take it on the road and visit various people and places of interest.
We're going to chauffeur Lucia around. Lucia's going to take us on a magical mystery tour of Britain.
And go to the Dragon Lines.
Yeah. We're very interested in some of the energy centres, or what people would call the ley lines. In Wales, we call them the Dragon Lines. And these are energy spots, and they converge at certain places. And there's certain times of the year where the strength of these energy centres are magnified. So we hope to visit those spots and meditate, and also introduce the sacred language of Sanskrit, which is an ancient Indian language, but nevertheless it's a language which was formed from particular syllables and sound vibrations, which resonate strongly and have a very positive effect on this planet, if and when chanted on these specific energy lines. That all sounds very esoteric, but we're just going to get in the Rolls Royce and have a bit of a laugh, really, and and interview people on the way.
We're going to film it, and we're also developing lots of different products and things. So things like NFTs, hoodies, T-shirts, all of this sort of stuff. And we've also set up a YouTube channel, an Instagram account, and we're going to post things on social media for people to follow our journey. So if you wanted to follow us on Instagram or anything like that, so you can keep up with what we're doing. But yeah, the plan is to sort of love what we're doing, document it, and share it, I guess.
Yeah, That's beautiful. What blockchain are you doing your NFTs on?
At the moment, we've signed up to OpenSea, so Ethereum for now.
Ethereum, yeah.
But there was another digital media company that we had some involvement with, so we're talking to those guys. And then we've got another guy in Malaysia who's also he's looking at building a NFT platform solely for this project. But that's something that's probably gonna be arriving towards the end of this year or maybe next year, something like that. Because there's a lot of work to be done on that. So for now, we're just developing our own NFTs to post on OpenSea, I think, for the time being.
Right. We've mostly been involved with Tezos, but that's mainly because of the artistic community around Tezos. So yeah, what you're talking about might suit that as well. So maybe have a look at that.
Yeah, if anybody out there's got any business angles, it always helps to pay the bills.
Yeah.
We could do with paying some fuel bills. I don't know if you can see how cold it is. Yeah, it's pretty out there.
Oh yeah, I can see your breath. Yeah.
No, we are quite fans of modern technology and modern, things like NFTs and digital artwork and things like that. We embrace it really and enjoy it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. I think what you're doing is beautiful, and I salute you. I salute all three of you for it. It sounds like a lovely project, and yeah, if you're listening, definitely go and have a look at the websites. The artwork is beautiful. The chapel is lovely as well.
When are you coming over then?
When am I coming over?
Yeah. We could do with more Celts over here.
Well, if you make it to Ireland in your Rolls Royce, you're very welcome to come and visit. Because it sounds like you're not going to be there anyway. You're going to be off gallivanting around in the Rolls.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say we're going to do a number of performances inside the chapel as well and post those up. We've teamed up with like a number of different sound healers and performers and things like that. So we'll be posting all those as well as the year goes on.
Yeah, lovely. Just say your Instagram handle so people can go and find you.
Oh, Life Saving Distractions. So it's life underscore distractions underscore. Yep, sorry. Life underscore.
Yeah, saving. Yeah.
Distractions.
Yeah. I just realized it's LSD.
Yeah, because some people, think we're really drug orientated and because it's all LSD and stuff, but it's like a philosophy behind it, really. So
love is the drug.
Love is the drug.
Is it coincidental that life-saving distractions is the same as LSD, or is it one purpose?
Absolutely coincidental. Just occurred to me.
Oh, really? It was the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, okay. Because the whole vibe of what you're doing is psychedelic. I was like, oh, okay. So these guys are, big LSD fans. That fits.
I guess life is a trip itself. So it all ties together with what our philosophy is and things like that,
There's no coincidence.
Yeah. That's right.
And the 60s and 70s and things, they were the culture that was born out of that was quite heavily influenced by psychedelics and things. So yeah, we're not afraid to.
We are pushing the doors of perception, John.
Yeah, good for you. All right, well, it's as I say, it's a lovely project. You're all lovely people doing lovely work. So yeah, very nice to chat to you, and thanks for swinging by to let everybody know about it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on the show, John. Turn in, tune on. Drop out. Turn on,
Brilliant.
tune in, drop out. Yeah, that's it.
Brilliant.
I've never felt this good in my entire life. Make me some spaghetti.
Actually, I'd prefer a cup of tea. A cup of tea would be lovely. So yeah, just a little reminder, mainly because every second or third person who becomes a patron has got in touch with me and said, you know what, I've been listening to your podcast for ages. And I didn't become a patron, not because I don't have the money, not because I don't think it's great. I just didn't get around to it. So this is a little friendly reminder that if you'd like to be a patron, you'd like to buy me a cup of tea, go to patreon.com/John Dalton. Gently does it, all one word. Or follow the link in the show notes to become a patron. I would really appreciate it if you could do that, particularly if you've been meaning to and you just haven't got around to it. It would be great. It would mean a lot to me. All right, thank you. Bye.
We are the Argyle Pimps, so buy us a drink. We're better than you thought, but not as good as we think. We are the Argyle Pimps, so buy us a drink. Come on, buy us a drink. Come on, buy us a drink. We are the Argyle Pimps, so buy us a drink. We're better than you thought, but not as good as we think. We are the Argyle Pimps, so buy us a drink. Come on, buy us a drink. Come on.